Alright friends, I'm back, and we got episode 2 of Gotham Knights to review. I think I'm starting to maybe like the show. There are things I like. There are things that are not so good. I'm just gonna talk about this for about 10 minutes. I'm gonna try to not make this one as long as my last one, because the last time I did this video, it was a lot longer. It was like 25 minutes. We don't have 25 minutes for me to talk about these all the time. All right, so that being said, let's jump into this. Well, where do we start? Well, I guess we'll just start at the beginning of this episode. So basically, episode 1, Batman died. We had the funeral. These kids were taken in because we thought they killed Batman. And Turner also got taken in because it looks like his account was the one paying these teenage potentially killers. Then they escape. And now, where are they hiding? In the school. But I guess you wouldn't think to look there because you would think they wouldn't go to the school because it'd be so obvious. You see, so really, is it not brilliant? I don't know. So that's kind of where we start off this episode. Well, sort of, except that they've left the hideout to go burgle clothes for some reason. Can I just say the song choices in this hurt me? They hurt me. It hurts. They're so, like, just, I don't even know, like just pop music that is like, oh yeah, look, these kids are edgy. And it's just really hurting my soul to listen to it. I just wish it was anything other than the songs that they picked. I mean, it could be any other songs, really. It's not the song in particular that gets me. It's just like the vibe. But that's fine. So they're burgling this place, and Amanda's ignoring the soundtrack because it hurts her. And what we see is we see Turner and Duella have a little flirty moment here. A little flirty moment. And she only seems to really be into Turner. She kind of says something to him in episode 2 where she's basically like, where's that bad boy that I like saw in the previous when you were like trying to break out, get us to escape or whatever. I don't know. I don't know what I'm even talking about right now, as this thing is making me lose my mind. Basically, she's like, remember when you were in the van and we were escaping and you were like a bad guy, you were like being a bad boy. Where's that guy? That guy is cool. I like him. So obviously Duella has a thing for the bad boys, which you'd think she'd be the opposite, considering that her dad is one of the baddest boys there's ever been. Baddest men, the Joker. So that's the thing. If she is really the Joker's daughter. But at this point, I'm thinking that she is. So they have this little flirty moment. It's pretty cringe, I'm not gonna lie. But I was like, all right, well, sure, that's a weird star-crossed lover romance thing that could happen. Why not? Then they're stealing clothes from this store so that they can lie low, which I'm like, if you're lying low, why would you steal clothes when you could be caught stealing clothes? Not really lying low, doesn't really make a lot of sense. But their reasoning, the justification for this in the episode is that, like, they need clothes to blend in and not the clothes that they're wearing, which I guess is true. They probably want to change up what they're wearing since that's what they were last seen in, and they'll try to take them in and be looking for what they're wearing. However, I still feel like breaking into a place, I don't know. It's a weird thing. So they get caught. Well, they don't get caught. The alarm goes off and they get caught by Carrie Kelly, who obviously is like, you guys again. Yeah, being rascals, and just kind of lets them off with a shouldn't be out of the safe house, which is in the school. So that's kind of how that all ends. Meanwhile, the police are having a really rough time. As we learned at the end of the last episode when we got the tease for the Court of Owls, the Court of Owls does not like when you do bad job with them. If you don't listen to them, or if they give you orders and it doesn't go well, they're taking your head, literally. So that's what happened at the end of the last episode. They took one of the police officers' heads. And then we go to the police station. And, you know, I keep wanting to say Jim Gordon, but it's not Jim Gordon. It's Harvey Dent. Harvey Dent says, hey, you know, I haven't seen this guy in a bit. And then they basically go to call him, and there's a box on his desk, and it rings, and then they open it up, and his head's in there with his phone. And then they're like, where's the rest of his squad? And I kid you not, behind them are a bunch of boxes on a mail cart that are waiting to be delivered, and they all start ringing. Head-sized boxes, and ones that are on desks. This guy had a massive team, too, I gotta say. Like, there's like more than 20 boxes here. This guy had like a big team. Big corrupt team, because they're all working for the Court of Owls. So, yeah, they're all ringing, and it was pretty ridiculous. And I gotta say, I was surprised by it, so I was kind of like, oh, that's interesting. But then at the same time, I was immediately like, oh, but that's so ridiculous. Like, it's so ridiculous. So, on one hand, I feel like, ooh, surprising, cool. On the other hand, I'm like, ooh, it's too ridiculous. We cut to the news, where people are obviously talking about everything that's going on in Gotham, this murder, these kids have escaped, they're suspects, the police have all been murdered, and we get this really weird filter on the news guy that I was like, why is this filter here? Why did they make it look like, just have it look like this. Like, all you gotta do is put a banner below me and put me in a fancy studio and boom, I'm a newscaster. You don't have to do anything fancy. That we can make this look like a newscast right now. Hello, I'm here to tell you that Gotham Knights Episode 2 did happen, and was it good? Well, the jury is still out, but stay tuned where we're going to be talking about that right after the weather. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that hard. I don't know why they needed to put a filter on it, but they did. So, Turner also is kind of flirting with everyone in this episode, too, I gotta say. Like, obviously, him and Stephanie, I already picked up on that in episode 1. Him and Duella. Him and Carrie Kelly kind of also have some chemistry. So, I'm just like, is Turner just supposed to be, like, have chemistry with everyone because he's Batman's son? And then I guess I'm kind of fine with it. But I'm also like, why? Why? Just pick one. Pick two. All of them? All of them. Except for, I'm sure, he might not have chemistry with Harper because she's supposed to be bisexual. So I feel like we really want to hammer home that she's bisexual and she's into ladies. But maybe not. Maybe he'll also have chemistry with Harper because she is bisexual, so it could also happen. So basically, back at the safe house, they kind of are like, we need to do something to prove ourselves innocent. And Carrie's like, well, you know, with Batman had journals, and Turner's like, I never saw no journals at home. I've never seen no journals. And she's like, well, that's because they're not actually wouldn't be in the Batcave or your house. They would actually be at Wayne Enterprises. So they have to now go back to the scene of the crime. Dun dun dun. Not gonna lie, I kind of like that idea, even though I feel like that's ridiculous. But they managed to come up with a pretty good plan, which is to sneak in through Wayne Enterprises cars, because the cops won't be screening those, because those obviously would be used by employees, and no kids would ever think to steal one of those and go in that way. And they use a secret elevator that Bruce had to get up to Wayne Enterprises where there's no cameras, which obviously makes sense because he's Batman. And Carrie Kelly still has the code, or Turner still has the code? One of them has the code, so they're going to use that to go up undetected, which they do. It's at this point that Duella's like, I'm thinking of betraying everyone, and basically says to Harper and Cullen, what if we just sell this watch that we found that belongs to the Court of Owls, and then we can leave Gotham, and we could just use this Wayne Enterprises car to get out of here. And they're basically like, that's really ridiculous, even for this show, even for us, so we're gonna say no, Duella. So they end up rushing in last minute when Turner and Carrie are up there and they need help because basically the police are coming, and then the Court of Owls is coming, and everyone's coming at once. But everyone's showing up to try to basically get them or kill them. So Harper and Cullen go to help. Duella drives away. I'm sure that will not turn out badly. But meanwhile, upstairs, yeah, it's not going very well for Turner and Carrie Kelly. They also find out that what Batman was investigating was the Court of Owls. He initially thought it had to do with the death of his parents. Then he kind of realized, like, oh, it's just a fantasy, and he went back to that journal where he was writing about the Court of Owls before. So it seems like his murder might be related to the Court of Owls, which also might be related to his origin story and the death of his parents. Isn't that neat and tidy how that all ties together. You bet it is. It is a little too neat and tidy, but I figured that it was all going to tie back to who killed Bruce's parents, so here we are. By the way, they name drop Alfred again during this, and I keep thinking, where is Alfred? Is he okay? Where is he at? Did he die? Why haven't we seen him? They keep talking about him. But we don't see him. Alfred apparently believed that the Court of Owls was a fairy tale. So maybe Alfred is the man behind the Court of Owls, and he'll be running it. And then I will smash my head into a brick wall, because that would be insane. But you know what? If they did it right, maybe I'd be here for it. So Alfred, we don't know what's up with him. Meanwhile, back at school, Stephanie's trying to figure out a way to clear Turner's name as well, because she's his friend and she is super smart hacker lady, which someone in the comments, I don't know if it was Rodney or who was saying this, is talking about how the Stephanie here sounds like Barbara Gordon, and I was like, maybe that is why I like this interpretation of Stephanie, because she's just Barbara Gordon. So I'm going to keep thinking about that, but I think you might be onto something with her Oracle-like hacker skills. So while Stephanie's back at school, she's thinking of, you know, a way to come up with this, and her boyfriend, I forget what his name is, but he's basically here, her lover, whatever we want to call him, the guy that isn't Turner. He is like, oh man, like, this is pretty crazy what's happening. It's like when Enigma had this thing, and I was like, oh, why did we, Easter egg, but like, in the most not satisfying way, just name dropped Enigma. Enigma. No, okay. So, I don't know if we'll ever go back to that. Probably not. But if we do, then that gets some points. If we don't, then no points. 0 points for that one. Minus points, actually, Gotham Knights. I'm going to have to take some points away from you. So they have this little tete-a-tete, and basically he says to her, like, why are you even helping Turner? Like, Turner's basically the guy that is always asking you for stuff, and you never get anything in return. And I think that's pretty messed up. And I gotta say, I really like Stephanie, and I kind of liked what this guy was putting down, because I kind of feel like he might be right, even though initially I thought he was kind of a hothead. And his character gets more interesting, but we'll get back to that in a second. The Talon, by the way, in this fight gets revealed. One of the Talons is there from the Court of Owls, but it's like this big reveal, but it's like this big reveal for kind of a lackluster look, in my opinion, where I feel like this Talon kind of looks like he's just LARPing as like Monty Python's like Black Knight. Like he just, it's just, I don't know. I'm not really here for this outfit. I'm gonna be real. What is this design choice? Is it based on something? Because if it is, okay, maybe it's based on something. But yeah, I don't know. It just was like, all right, a little underwhelming is what I would say. Also, I'm not sure if I'm getting used to it or if this episode is better color graded, but it looked better to me. Duella, of course, runs away and sells the watch. But of course, when you're selling a Court of Owls watch to someone, do you think that's a good idea to be like, I got this Court of Owls watch? I'm sure the Court of Owls will not come for you. Anyways, they definitely come for her through this guy that's buying the watch. He's like, yeah, the Court of Owls called me and they want me to basically take this watch and kill you. So, of course, that's how that's gonna go. And I gotta say, Duella, for somebody who doesn't like her dad, who's a criminal, and for somebody who is supposed to seemingly, by other things that she's done, be smart, pretty dumb and pretty criminally for someone that doesn't want to be, like her dad, the most famous criminal of all in Gotham. Very weird character choices. Back though, with the Talon at Wayne Enterprises, Harper and Cullen get up there. They're trying to help Turner and Carrie, like, hold off this Talon, and Carrie basically has a grappling gun that they grabbed from Batman's stash in Wayne Enterprises with the journal. The grappling gun, I knew we were getting a grappling gun. As soon as they panned down, I was like, was that a grappling gun or was that a gun? Bet that was a grappling gun, because Batman, gotta have a grappling gun. She pulls it out, of course, it's a grappling gun, which that part I didn't mind as much. What I did mind is when she fired it, she held it up like this. No one's ever grappled before. She's like, we're gonna grapple, everyone cool? She holds it up like this, and then without even looking at where it fires, which is apparently more than a 40-foot drop or something, she just looks behind her, and then it shoots out the window. And it shoots. And then she looks at where it goes. Is that auto grapple on that grappling hook? Did Batman build an auto grapple? Is that possible? I don't know. I don't think that's possible. So that part bothered me. But maybe it is auto grapple, you know? Batman's an advanced guy. So they just, yeah, they grapple out of the window, even though some of them have probably never done that before. The only one that has experience is Carrie Kelly. Her advice to them is don't let go, which, yeah, good advice. I would never do that. I'd be like, I'll just die. I'm good. I don't think I'm going to grapple out that window. But hey, you know what? Suspension of disbelief. They grapple out the window. Away they go. And they make it. How they find out where Duella went, I don't remember, but they do get there. And although all of that seems a little ridiculous now that I'm thinking back to it, because I don't remember how they figured that out, maybe it has a tracker in the car or something. Anyways, they get there, and Duella's running from this Talon who killed the other guy that was going to buy the watch, because of course, he should have also known getting involved with the Court of Owls means that you'll probably also die. But maybe he never heard the nursery rhyme that Duella sang at the end of, or said at the end of episode 1. So he gets killed, Duella runs out, and then there's actually a pretty good fight. It's about the last 10 minutes of the show, and I gotta say, the last 10 minutes of each episode is always my favorite bit. So maybe I should just watch the last 10 minutes of each episode and review that, because this part was actually pretty good. I like the fight between Carrie Kelly and Turner and the Talon. I like how it requires both of them just to subdue the Talon, and even then they don't, like, kill him. He still kind of, like, gets up. He just kind of keeps coming, which I like. And I like how it takes, like, everything they have to stand a chance. We also do find out that Turner is actually trained in a bunch of martial arts, as well as being someone that is experienced in fencing. So now I'm like, okay, his capability is starting to make a little bit more sense. And apparently, although Bruce didn't tell him he was Batman, he did want Turner to be trained in these forms of combat. So clearly, something's going on with that, where Batman wanted him to be skilled. So there's that. I have a theory. My theory is that the Talon is an undead Wayne, or is in some way related to Turner, just because, of course, that's how that would go. I just feel like he's going to be related in some way to him. I don't know how, but this is a theory that I have. We'll see if I'm right or not. Cressida's accent, by the way, gets better next time we see her. It's also revealed that Cressida, who's Turner's butler, in case you forgot, is a part of the Court of Owls. So, dun dun dun. I'm assuming that Bruce probably figured that out and perhaps, like, wanted to keep her close. Like, he might have been using her to kind of track the Court of Owls. But I guess we'll have to see what's happening with that. Stephanie's beau ends up going to the police station because she gets pulled in for questioning when they basically figure out that, like, she was probably the one that, you know, went into all the banks to find out the information on Turner and him transferring the money and all of that stuff in the Bat computer. And this guy comes in to basically say, like, I was the one that did it, like, Turner asked me for help and I did it, not Stephanie, to, like, take the heat off of her, which I actually really liked. And I thought what he said before made sense, and then him doing this, kind of nice. But then the other weird thing is that he does this, and then after their conversation, he just walks out of the police station. And I was like, wait a minute, if you just confessed that, they were, like, telling Stephanie, like, you could go to prison for years, but this guy just gets to walk out? Does his dad own the police? Maybe he's part of the Court of Owls. Maybe everyone's part of the Court of Owls. I guess we'll have to wait to find out. And, of course, they get out of the fight with the Talon. That all gets resolved. Everybody gets back to the safe house. And they realize in the journal there's pages missing that have been ripped out. But then we find out who ripped them out. Carrie Kelly did. She stole the pages. It's a twist because they talk about Turner not being able to realize something because it would be terrible. Or Bruce is like, I don't know how I'm going to tell him this thing. So, I feel like Turner's parentage maybe has something to do with these last pages. I think it's interesting that Carrie's choosing to keep that from Turner. And I will say, I was intrigued by this twist. I'm not going to lie. A lot of the elements of the show are actually pretty good. And I just wish... There's a lot of elements that are cool. There are things that are not executed well. There are things that don't look great visually. There are things that don't make sense, like sending a grappling gun and then looking at it after the grappling gun has fired. But there are some moments that are really good, and I really wish this show actually gave those moments more time to breathe and actually did less in this season, because that's, to me, what really makes it not great, is that it feels like we're rushing through everything at, like, full speed. Anyways, that's my thoughts on episode 2, and I hope that you also felt feelings if you watched it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I will say it's getting better, so I guess we'll see how we feel about episode 3. All right, see you next time. Stay nerdy. Bye! So, it's a big circle of just everyone coming. No, I'm just kidding. It's a big... Don't put that in there. Good lord.